Hi, welcome to Mr. Gohane's first online lesson. Today we're going to talk about adding and subtracting decimals. Now remember, you need to have your note page ready, write down what I write down, and bring it back to class with you tomorrow. Okay, let's get started. On your first box you're going to see this right here. These are some tips that I want you to have down when adding decimals. First, round the numbers to the nearest whole number. This gives you a clue as to what the answer will be. Okay, so I just want to pause right now and say, please make sure on your note page you write down whole number in that blank. If you miss anything, feel free to pause, rewind, or watch again. Okay, controls are totally up to you. Back to this. Okay, so first what we're going to do is we're going to round to the nearest whole number. That's just to sort of give us a clue as to what our answer is actually going to be. Second step. To find the answer, write down the numbers, one under the other, lining up the decimal points. You're just going to line them up, one right on top of the other. That's the key when you're dealing with decimals, adding and subtracting. Make sure those decimals are lined right up. Second, you're going to put blank on the end so the numbers have the same length. If needed, I'm going to underline that if needed because you don't always have to do it. The answer is it's zeros. You just want the numbers to be equal in length. I'll give you an example in a minute. And third, you're going to bring down the decimal point last, add normally. Okay, now right now these steps are probably like, whoa, what does this all mean? Well, when I show you an example, I'll show you exactly what it means. For right now, make sure you have all of these filled out in your notes. Again, if I'm moving too fast, pause the video, take a minute and jot them down. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. This is a typical problem we'll see in class. It'll say, find the sum of 23 1/10 and 5 8/10. Now, we're talking about adding. How do I know? I see that word sum, and that means add. Remember, if I write it, you write it in your notes. So sum is to add. So what we're going to do is we're going to add these two. No problem. First, we're going to estimate. And here's how I do it. My first number is 23 1/10. My second number is 5 8/10. We want to round those to the nearest whole number because what that does is it gives us a clue as to what the answer is going to look like. At least it'll be close to it. Here's what I mean. I do that little squiggly equal sign. What that means is that it's about or it's close to. And let's look. 23 1/10. Well, I want to round to the nearest whole number, so I go to the ones place. Look at the number to the right of it is a 1. Remember, 5 or more, you round up. 4 or below, stays the same. 23 1/10, well, because that 1 is, in fact, a 1, which is below 4 or below, it's going to stay the same, so it's going to stay at 23. 5 8/10. Again, whole numbers there. We're going to look over here. Boom, it's an 8. Because it's 5 or above, we're going to round it up. So it's going to be 6. So in reality, we're going to add numbers that are close to 23 and close to 6. So 23 plus 6 is 29. Good. So what that tells us is if our answer is close to 29, we're on the right track. So let's see what it really is. Now let's find the answer. 23 decimal point 1. Now remember, back previous, we wrote down a note that said we have to line up the decimal points. So, 23 1/10, 5 8/10. I'm going to make sure that those decimal points are right in line. Boom, boom, boom. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down the, well, I checked. Are the numbers equal in length? They are. No need to add zeros. But what I am going to do is I'm going to bring down that decimal point there. Notice, in a straight line when adding and subtracting. Now you just add normally. 1 plus 8 is 9. 3 plus 5 is 8. 2, well, there's nothing. 2 plus 0 is 2. So I have an answer of 28.9. Is that close to 29? It is. So chances are we're good. In this case, I know we're good. Okay, this slide right here. This is going to be a do your own. So what I want you to do, on your own, I want you to first, well, we're finding the sum, so we're going to add. I want you to first round those to the nearest whole number. Check to see what your answer would be. Then what I want you to do is add these two and see, is it close to what we were when we rounded? Perfect. So if you want to pause the video right now, work out this problem, we'll be good to go. Okay, by now you should have the problem worked out. What I want you to do is bring it to class tomorrow. In class, we'll see, did you get it right, did you get it wrong? But let's move on to subtraction. Here's some tips for subtracting decimals. First, blank so you have an idea of what the answer will be. I've said it a couple times, I think. What I want you to do is round. Just like with adding, rounding gives you a clue as to what it's kind of going to be. To find the answer, write down the numbers, one under the other, lining up the, it should sound familiar, we're going to line up the decimal points. Second, put blank on the end so the numbers have the same length if needed. Again, if the numbers are different length, we're going to have to add zeros. Third, bring down the decimal point. Last, you're going to subtract normally. So again, at this point, pause the video, make sure you have all of those blanks filled out, and we'll be ready for class tomorrow. But let's try an example. Okay. Again, another typical problem we'll see in class. It'll say, find the difference of 5 decimal point 774 and 2 decimal point 371. Okay, before we get into the numbers, notice it says find the difference. When you see that word difference, a buzzword should click in your head and say, ooh, difference. That means subtract. So we're going to find the difference of 5 and 774 thousandths and 2 and 371 thousandths. Let's do it. First we're going to estimate. So that number is actually kind of close. We'd round up to 6. This we would round, well, round down or really just stay the same. 6 and 2. So 6 minus 2 is equal to 4. Now did you see how I did that? I just rounded them to the nearest whole number. Least whole number, boom, boom, round. So we know our answer is going to be kind of close to 4. Now let's find the answer. So we have 5 decimal point 774 minus 2 decimal point 371. Notice how I lined them up. One on top of the other, decimal points in a line. Do I need to add zeros? No, because they're the same length. If they were different length, we would, but they're the same. Next step, bring right down the decimal point. You know, the reason I do it now is so I don't forget at the end. If you just do it right away, it's already done. Now we just subtract. 4 minus 1 is 3. 7 minus 7, 0. 7 minus 3 is 4. Decimal point brought down. 5 minus 2 is 3. So we have an answer of 3 and 403 thousandths. Is that close to 4? It is. 3 decimal point 4 is pretty close to 4. Chances are we got it pretty good, and in this case, I know we got it. Just as last time, I have one that I want you to try it on your own. This is 6 minus 4 and 78/100ths. Little hint, remember, that's 6. Got to remember the decimal point is here. Now I'm sure most of you remembered that, but just in case, remember the decimal point's there. And this one, I think you got to add some zeros. Try your best, bring it to class with you tomorrow, and we will go over it. Any questions you have, jot them down on the note sheet. That's what we'll cover in class. We'll see you.